The cameras flashed, the crowd just froze.
Yeah.
And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
They really did.
Picture this. It's July 3rd, 2026. You are standing in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, but like something is completely off.
Off how? Like traffic.
Worse. The streets around you are locked down, total gridlock. There are these massive, heavy objects being unloaded from unmarked trucks under this intense shroud of secrecy.
Oh, wow.
Right? And then the sky just opens up, sudden torrential rain, heavy whipping winds tearing through the city avenues. It feels almost apocalyptic for a minute.
Sounds terrifying, honestly.
It was. But then, just as quickly as it started, the storm breaks. The clouds part, and this brilliant, picture-perfect rainbow stretches right over the skyline.
That is, I mean, you can't write that.
You really can. And right there, above the wet asphalt, the iconic Madison Square Garden digital marquee flashes in bright pink letters. It says, "Just TNT married."
Just TNT. I love that. It sounds like the opening scene of a massive Hollywood blockbuster, doesn't it? But that actually happened.
It did. Welcome to StarScope Report. I'm Jordan.
I'm Jamie.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
That's right. And today, we have a massive headline story for you. We're looking at exactly how Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are adjusting to private married life.
Exactly, because this is a huge transition. We've got a fascinating stack of sources for this deep dive, ranging from Variety and TMZ to the New York Times, Forbes, and Heavy.
A really wide range of reporting.
Yeah, and our mission today is to figure out how the world's most public, heavily scrutinized couple transitions into something that actually resembles privacy.
Which, you know, is a fascinating paradox when you really look at the mechanics of it. Like, the ultimate emblem of their quest for privacy begins inside a 20,000-seat sports arena.
Right.
It always sounds counterintuitive, you know?
Yeah. Okay, let's unpack this. Because booking Madison Square Garden for a wedding seems incredibly flashy on the surface. But looking at the sources, it's actually, well, it's like building a medieval fortress.
Exactly. A very expensive fortress.
Seriously, think about it. The sheer scale, the existing perimeter security, the infrastructure. It is one of the only places on planet Earth they could completely, totally control.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. This wasn't just a party. It was an exercise in extreme boundary setting. When you reach that level of global fame, you can't just, like, get married on a beach.
No, absolutely not.
Or even at a countryside estate. You have to contend with paparazzi drones, long lens cameras, huge fan crowds. Madison Square Garden is basically a concrete bunker.
Very glamorous bunker.
Right, but it has underground loading docks, secure subterranean elevators, and this is key, an established anti-drone airspace. They essentially commandeer the mecca of sports venues to create a vacuum of privacy.
And building that vacuum is not cheap. According to reports, they paid a $160,000 permit to New York City just to cover NYPD overtime and street closures.
Wow. $160K just for the streets?
Yeah, that is the literal cost of building a moat around your personal life in 2026.
It set a very clear, deliberate tone for their marriage from day one, too. Like, we will control the narrative and we will control the access.
Let's talk about the access for the roughly 1,000 guests who actually made it inside that fortress, because the details from the sources are just wild.
I am dying to talk about the bridal party.
Oh my gosh, yes. Despite the cavernous space, they completely eschewed the traditional bridal party. No rows of bridesmaids in matching dresses, no line of groomsmen.
Wait, really? None at all?
None. Instead, it was an incredibly tight family affair at the altar. Taylor's brother, Austin Swift, was her man of honor.
Oh, I love it.
And Travis's brother, Jason Kelce, was the best man. And Jason and Kylie Kelce's kids served as the flower girls, walking down this massive custom-built ramp.
Which is a brilliant juxtaposition, honestly. You have this venue designed for championship games and sold-out concerts, but the core of the ceremony was intensely personal and really family-focused. It grounds the spectacle.
And they were dressed for royalty. We're talking custom Christian Dior haute couture designed by Jonathan Anderson for both of them. Travis actually wore a stunning white tuxedo.
Oh, it's a highly coordinated, very deliberate visual of unity.
Definitely.
I mean, he's always used fashion as a statement, right? But wearing a white Dior tuxedo to match the bride's Dior gown. In a venue that large, you need strong visual language to anchor the space. They were the undeniable focal point.
And the vows. TMZ reported that they each read 20-minute vows from a golden book.
20 minutes.
Each. Attendees said they were funny, emotional, and just incredibly well-written. Travis later spoke to reporters at the Chiefs training camp and called it the best night of my life and a childhood dream to get married in that venue.
That is so sweet. But, a wedding in MSG obviously requires some unparalleled entertainment. You certainly wouldn't expect a standard wedding cover band.
Not even close. How about Paul McCartney getting up and singing, "I Want to Hold Your Hand"?
Stop.
I'm serious. A song our sources point out he hasn't performed live since 1964.
That gives me chills.
Yeah.
1964.
Yeah. Plus, Avril Lavigne sang Skater Boy, Taylor and Travis did a duet, and there was a speech by Lena Dunham that reportedly had everyone talking.
That level of cultural capital in one room is just staggering. But again, look at the underlying theme of control and boundaries. They requested absolutely no gifts from this room full of billionaires and celebrities.
Though George Kittle did joke at his Tight End University event that since Travis likes old coins, he might just get him an old coin anyway.
That's hilarious.
Right. But instead of receiving gifts, the couple gave them out. They handed out these black velvet boxes stamped with their wedding crest, sealed with silver wax. Inside, diamond-encrusted champagne flutes.
See, that is the ultimate flex of a fortress wedding. It sends a message. Like, we don't need anything from you. We are here to host you in our secure realm.
Definitely. And hey, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
Absolutely. Hit that button.
Because that's not even the wildest part. A physical fortress in Manhattan only protects them for one weekend. The sources show that the real threat to their privacy isn't a photographer crashing the reception, it's the financial and creative exposure of their marriage long-term.
Oh, for sure. Monday morning requires a legal fortress. Which brings us to the prenup.
Merging $2 billion empires is no small feat. If you're listening, imagine you're sitting across from your fiancé. Instead of talking about who does the dishes or where to spend the holidays, you're looking at a binding contract dictating what you're legally allowed to say about them if you ever break up.
Yikes.
How would you even handle that conversation?
It requires an entirely different mindset. And legally, it's incredibly complex.
Right.
According to the sources, California was entirely ruled out as a jurisdiction for the prenup.
Really? Why?
Well, they reportedly evaluated states like Rhode Island and Kansas instead.
Which geographically makes sense considering they have major ties to both places. Taylor has her mansion in Rhode Island, and Travis's base is in Kansas City. But why rule out California entirely?
Because family law varies wildly by state. Rhode Island and Kansas have much more favorable, robust enforcement laws for these kinds of highly specific restrictive agreements. Yeah, California courts can sometimes be more willing to invalidate parts of a prenup if they deem them unconscionable later on. When you're dealing with billion-dollar brands, you need ironclad enforcement.
So what actually goes into a prenup for two people at this level of wealth and public scrutiny?
Extreme confidentiality clauses, for one. They reportedly agreed to use private judges for any potential future marital disputes.
Wait, a private judge? You can just, rent the justice system?
Essentially, yes. In many jurisdictions, you can hire a retired judge to arbitrate a dispute privately. It keeps the proceedings, the financial disclosures, and the arguments entirely out of the public record.
Wow.
Tabloids can't request court documents if the court is essentially a private, closed-door arbitration. They are also maintaining entirely separate estates, meaning what's hers is hers and what's his is his, even though they might enter into joint business ventures during the marriage.
That makes sense.
But the most unique part of this legal blueprint is what lawyers are calling the songwriting carve-out.
Yes. This part is wild. Taylor Swift's entire brand, her entire catalog, is built on autobiographical storytelling. She has to be able to write about her life.
Exactly.
So she reportedly needed legal protection in the prenup that allows her to sing about her relationship without violating any confidentiality clauses.
And we are already seeing this in action, by the way. Look at track 9, Wood, from her October 2025 album, The Life of a Showgirl.
Oh.
It is explicitly about Travis. It even references New Heights of Manhood, which is a clear nod to the podcast he has with his brother, Jason.
And Jason's wife, Kelce, actually joked about how that song made her squirm a little bit because of the intimate details, but she still loved it.
It's hilarious. But legally, there is another massive complication here. The master recordings.
Right.
Taylor has spent years fighting to regain control of her master recordings by re-recording her older albums. The legal question during the prenup negotiations was, if she re-records an older album during the marriage, does that new recording become a joint marital asset?
Let me make sure I understand the mechanics of this. Even though she wrote the song like 10 years ago, if she spends 6 months in a studio during the marriage using her time and effort, the output might be considered a shared asset just because it was created while they were married.
Exactly. In some states, marital time and labor used to create new intellectual property, even based on old ideas, can transform that property into a joint asset.
That is crazy.
If they didn't explicitly map this out, a future dispute over who owns Taylor's version of a past album could become a legal nightmare.
Okay, I have to push back here, though. Doesn't sitting down with armies of lawyers to legally codify exactly what you are and aren't allowed to sing about and itemizing future recordings of old songs, doesn't that completely kill the romance? This sounds like a cold, clinical corporate merger.
It sounds clinical on paper, I completely agree. But what's fascinating here is that this prenup actually protects their romance.
Also so.
Think about high-profile divorces we've seen, where ambiguity destroyed the individuals in their brands. When you have billions of dollars, immense public pressure, and complex intellectual property at stake, ambiguity is the absolute enemy of a relationship.
That's a really good point.
Right. By meticulously removing all financial and professional uncertainties, they are actually building a safe space.
Right.
You don't ever have to fight about money or lyrics because the boundaries are already drawn. It frees them up to just be a couple.
Which brings us to the aftermath of the wedding. Because once the fortress is built and the legal paperwork is signed, you still have to wake up on a Tuesday and live your life. And later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming regarding their honeymoon.
Oh, I can't wait for that part.
But first, here's where it gets really interesting regarding their day-to-day. They have access to literally everything in the world. They just threw a multi-million-dollar wedding at Madison Square Garden. But all the reports about their daily existence right now point to them desperately seeking, mundane normalcy.
Domesticity. The ultimate luxury for people whose lives are lived on a global stage.
Exactly. Sources say Taylor is happier than ever, leaning hard into domestic life. She's spending her time baking, cooking, and get this, handwriting old-fashioned thank you cards to their wedding guests.
The juxtaposition of handing out diamond-encrusted champagne flutes and then sitting down to write handwritten thank you notes is quite striking.
It really is.
It shows a desperate desire to stay grounded in the physical, tactile world.
And they are looking for a new place to root that grounded life. They are quietly house hunting in downtown Manhattan. Now, she obviously has a massive famous place in New York already. We're talking about a $50 million townhouse setup.
Right, the famous Cornelia Street era. Well, beyond that now.
Yeah. But the sources note they explicitly do not want to live in Taylor's house. That makes sense psychologically, but it's staggering logistically.
Oh, for sure.
Abandoning a perfectly good custom mega mansion just to avoid the ghosts of relationships past, it shows how much value they place on a clean slate.
It is a highly relatable psychological need, just executed on a mega mansion scale.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who has ever moved in with a partner understands the desire for a fresh start.
Totally.
You don't want to feel like a guest in your spouse's old life.
Yeah.
You want to build a shared environment, a neutral ground where every decision, every piece of furniture belongs equally to the marriage.
And what's a new home without a new pet?
Yes, the dog.
There's a new addition to the family. Fans spotted a fluffy white dog in the background of their wedding decor. And then recently, Travis was photographed exiting Taylor's private jet at Trump International Airport in Palm Beach, Florida, and that same white fluffy dog followed him right down the aircraft stairs.
So cute.
And just to be clear for you listening, because our sources from Heavy note they were spotted at Trump International Airport in Palm Beach, we are strictly tracking the geographic data reported in these articles. We are not weighing in on the politics of their flight paths. We just follow the dog.
Always follow the dog. It's the ultimate symbol of nesting. They're walking the dog, baking, setting up a house.
And working. Travis is heading back to Chiefs training camp, shifting his focus back to football, baby, as he told reporters.
Classic Travis.
Yeah. And Taylor's already writing new love songs inspired by Travis for a new album and tour. She's reportedly bouncing ideas off the Haim sisters, and she even reached out to Carly Simon for a potential collaboration after hearing about her Parkinson's diagnosis.
That's incredible.
She sent her a massive bouquet of flowers. Which is fitting, considering Carly Simon wrote You're So Vain, the ultimate autobiographical celebrity song.
It really is. It's a period of intense, creative, and personal output for both of them, fueled by this new stability. But before they fully locked into training camp and studio sessions, they had to pull off one more massive logistical feat.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because this is where the story goes global.
The global vanishing act.
Yeah.
The honeymoon.
Yes. Before settling into that domestic reality, they planned a 3-week, completely off-the-grid itinerary.
And looking at the route, it is a masterclass in evasion.
Let's track this globe-trotting map, because I was looking at the flight paths and something finally clicked. Reports indicate they started in the Bahamas, a place they frequently visit.
Makes sense. Close to Florida.
Then a massive jump across the Atlantic to Europe, the Italian coast, Lake Como, Paris, the French Riviera. Then they dipped into Croatia, reportedly to connect with Kelce's family roots. From there, it's a massive leap to Asia and the Pacific. Singapore, Australia, the Fiji Islands, before finally ending up in Hawaii, right before Travis had to report to camp. Looking at this map, they aren't just traveling, they are intentionally jumping wildly different time zones every few days.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this itinerary isn't just a lavish vacation. It is a highly calculated geographic buffer. It relies on a concept we can call anti-surveillance economics.
Anti-surveillance economics, how does that work?
So think about how modern paparazzi syndicates and tabloid journalism operate. They don't just wander around hoping to see a celebrity.
Right.
They rely on predictive positioning. They need to know where you are going to be 24 to 48 hours in advance to hire local stringers, rent boats, or set up long lenses. It costs a lot of money to deploy a paparazzi team.
I see where this is going.
By constantly moving across multiple continents, crossing vast oceans, and jumping through wildly different time zones, Taylor and Travis basically break the economic model of the tabloids. It becomes physically and logistically too expensive to establish a narrative or track their movements effectively.
So they outran the spotlight by simply never staying in one hemisphere long enough for the cameras to be deployed.
Exactly.
It's like playing global hide and seek, but you're using anti-surveillance economics to bankrupt the seeker.
Precisely. They took the absolute control they had inside Madison Square Garden and replicated it on a global scale. If you can't build a moat around the whole world, you just move faster than the people trying to build a narrative about you.
It really has been quite the journey we've tracked today. We started with the visual of a lockdown, storm-swept Midtown Manhattan for a $160,000 permit stadium wedding.
A literal fortress.
We navigated the meticulous, highly negotiated legal boundaries of their prenup, understanding why a songwriting carve-out is vital when your memories are literally your intellectual property. So important.
We looked at their surprising pivot to mundane domesticity, abandoning a $50 million townhouse to hunt for a neutral NYC home to bake and raise a fluffy white dog in. And finally, we followed them on a 3-week global vanishing act designed to economically outpace the media.
It truly is a blueprint for surviving modern extreme fame.
So, what does this all mean? I want to leave you with a thought to mull over. We live in an era where almost everyone voluntarily broadcasts their daily lives, their meals, their relationships to anyone on social media who will look.
Yeah, everybody overshares now.
Yet the most famous, powerful couple on earth is spending tens of millions of dollars employing armies of lawyers and renting out entire sports arenas just to experience the simple luxury of walking a dog and baking in private.
It raises a fascinating question about what we truly value today. Attention is cheap, but invisibility is priceless. Exactly. What does it say about our modern society when true, unfiltered privacy has become the ultimate unaffordable luxury? And will their extreme blueprint for relationship privacy, the NDAs, the geographic buffers, the fortress mentalities, eventually trickle down to the rest of us as our own digital lives become increasingly exposed?
That is a wild thought.
It makes you look back at that visual of Madison Square Garden on July 3rd differently. The torrential rain keeping the crowds away, the heavy winds, and finally that rainbow over a lockdown fortress. Sometimes, to find peace in a storm of public attention, you have to build walls thick enough to keep the whole world out.
A powerful thought to end on.
You've been listening to StarScope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.